one black family. Until I was about maybe 10 or 11, there was like one other black family, and then it was maybe the end of junior high where...
Since the start of their relationship, Jonathan Majors and Meagan Good have drawn a lot of public attention, but it seems that their adventure may be coming to an end. Allegations are emerging that Jonathan, now on the rise in his career after a rough time, has apparently chosen to separate ways with Meagan. Allegations abound on the internet that Meagan played a crucial role in helping Jonathan restore his reputation during one of the most trying periods of his career, only to be abandoned when he regains his footing, according to reports. Meagan went above and above for Jonathan during his difficult times, purportedly paying for a large portion of his bills when he had financial difficulties. According to reports, Meagan offered significant assistance with everything from rent to clothes and even with his parenting responsibilities. The reports have demoralized many followers who complain that Meagan, who has already gone through her fair share of highs and lows in both her personal and Hollywood lives, seems to be going through yet another heartache. Reactions to these accusations have been divided on the internet. Given Jonathan's situation, some fans believe Meagan should have exercised caution before making such a significant financial commitment to the relationship. Others, on the other hand, have supported her behavior, lauding her generosity and commitment in a circumstance when she obviously saw Jonathan's potential and character. As early as June, at the Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards, there were rumors that the pair was dating. Together, the two went to the ceremony where Jonathan received the Perseverance Award, which recognized his tenacity and fortitude in the face of hardship. But there were questions raised by their body language during the event. Jonathan reacted. Noticeably uncomfortable as Meagan appeared alone for photographers in a now viral video. His strained manner was seen by onlookers who saw it as a sign of his annoyance or disapproval of Meagan's autonomous time in the limelight. When Meagan was seen giving actor Michael Ealy a loving embrace in front of Jonathan, the situation grew even more heated. Supporters scrutinized every moment of the exchange, highlighting Jonathan's stoic demeanor and subsequent failure to acknowledge Meagan. After the embrace, Meagan seemed to look at Jonathan to see how he would respond, but Jonathan's unwillingness to look her in the eye spoke more than words could say. Some admirers speculated that the couple's chemistry had altered fundamentally, and the episode reinforced suspicions that their relationship was in trouble. Social media was filled with comments on the possible rifts in Jonathan and Meagan's relationship as a result of these incidents. Some followers condemned Jonathan for supposedly distancing himself from Meagan despite all she purportedly done to support him. One reader expressed what many of Meagan's fans believe: if this is true, Meagan deserves so much better. Some questioned whether the relationship was ever based on a strong foundation, speculating that Jonathan could have been more concerned with getting his career back on track than developing a sincere bond. Meagan's personal life has previously been the subject of scrutiny. The media has often discussed Meagan's romances after her well-publicized divorce from Devon Franklin. Given that the actress has a history of giving her all in relationships only to experience public grief, her fans feel protective of her. Meanwhile, following a difficult year filled with legal issues and public backlash, Jonathan Majors' career appears to be picking up steam once more. According to reports, he has been working on a number of initiatives and repairing his standing in the field. According to some insiders, the alleged breakup with Meagan may have been influenced by his renewed focus on his career. It begs the issue of whether Jonathan saw the connection as a short-term safety net during his crisis rather than a long-term commitment. If the stories are true, the viewpoint of Jonathan's supporters is a little different. Many of them contend that he has every right to put his career first and that relationships can change or end on their own over time, particularly when faced with the demanding demands of public life. Even his admirers, however, agree that this purported breakup is especially controversial because of Meagan's claimed sacrifices for him. Although neither Meagan nor Jonathan have officially responded to the split rumors, there is still a lot of conjecture on the internet. Meagan's attention may now turn to her personal recovery and further career pursuits. The actress has a large fan following that wants to see her succeed in every area of her life because of her skill and tenacity. Many admirers hope that she will find a spouse who cherishes her as much as she invests in her relationships. If the reports are accurate, the course of Jonathan's personal and professional life will probably be decided in the next months. His capacity to maintain deep personal ties may be scrutinized further as he attempts to cement his Hollywood return. His activities will surely be keenly monitored, regardless of whether he responds to the accusations about his connection with Meagan or decides to keep quiet. Discussions about love, loyalty, and the difficulties of managing relationships in the public spotlight have been triggered by the reported breakup of Jonathan Majors and Meagan Good. For Jonathan, it serves as a reminder that personal relationships need just as much attention and dedication as professional ones, and for Meagan, it marks the beginning of another chapter in her resilient journey. The truth is that their connection may never be fully revealed, even if admirers are still analyzing every little aspect. But one thing is for sure, Meagan and Jonathan will both remain well known in Hollywood, each blazing their own trail in a field that often expects more than it provides. Moment, Jonathan is currently filming in Canada, and things are going great. Many people think that this project will be a big hit and help him get his career back on track. Now that he seems to be getting back on track, Meagan is supposedly no longer needed, which is really sad because Meagan was allegedly handling Jonathan Major's financial obligations after his career took a hit due to the incident involving his ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari. As you may remember, Jonathan was in court fighting his ex-girlfriend claimed that Jonathan had hurt her during a videotaped altercation. She testified that the alleged incident happened after she saw a text on Jonathan's phone that said, "Oh, how I wish to be kissing you," and she attempted to take the phone away from him. Jonathan then grabbed her arm and right hand and pried her finger off the phone. Meagan, who was among those who backed Jonathan at the moment and even joined him, twisted her forearm and hit her head to get the phone away from her. According to reports, she accompanied him to court while holding his hand and listened to the prosecution's arguments and Grace Jabari's evidence, which included all of their disparaging remarks about Jonathan. Apparently, Meagan was especially furious by the text conversations between Jonathan and Grace that the prosecution kept bringing up in court, and she believed that Grace and the prosecution were spreading lies since it all went against what she knew about Jonathan. Felt that Grace was controlling and manipulative during her relationship with Jonathan. It was also reported that the difficulties posed by the trial were strengthening the bond between Jonathan and Meagan, making their love even more resilient. In fact, courtroom reports revealed that Meagan and Jonathan were crying on the final day of the trial when his lawyer was giving the closing remarks. Despite this, Jonathan was found guilty and given a sentence of up to 1 year in prison. Shortly after the verdict was read, in addition to announcing that he will not be returning to the film adaptation of Walter Mosley's book, The Man in My Basement, or being considered for an unknown 5th season of the Otis Reading biography. Marvel Studios also withdrew him from his role as Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Zelma and Otis had also been revealed as the understudies for Lee's movie, but there had been no more news since the accusation surfaced, and he was also allegedly fired from his management. In terms of brand deals, the U.S. Army postponed a campaign that featured him, and the Texas Rangers of Major League Baseball took him out of their 2023 season ad campaign within the first week following his arrest. Since Jonathan was not earning any money, someone had to pay all the bills, and that's where Meagan came in. In addition to using Meagan to sort of clean up Jonathan's image, Meagan was also allegedly paying all the bills in the house, including child support for Jonathan's little daughter from a previous relationship, and the source even disclosed that she paid for their dog's training bill, claiming that Meagan pays for everything. They really wanted this dog, and she ended up having to pay the $75,000 training bill, which is crazy. The source also stated that no one knows what Meagan sees in this guy, and if things continue this way, she might not be able to pay her mortgage. Basically, what people are saying is that Jonathan began dating Meagan while he was legally defending himself against the charges. Loved by the black community, which benefited him from a public relations perspective. And the relationship helped to repair Jonathan's reputation among his black supporters. However, now that his career appears to be resumed, his dedication to Meagan appears to be faltering, and he is prepared to break up with her directly. I'm just thinking that after everything she's been through, choosing to date and defend Jonathan must be not only difficult but also extremely embarrassing. Meagan also mentioned not too long ago that her friends warned her against dating Jonathan. How have you maintained your relationship or gotten into a new one in the midst of all of this? Well, I won't go into how it began, but I will say that the support we've been able to give each other, the open communication, the love, the respect, the care, and the thoughtfulness, it's just been really, really wonderful. And yes, did any friends advise you that he's in legal trouble, so why don't you wait to beat him? Wait to see how things work out. She also defended her decision, saying that at the end of the day, I can always look in the mirror, trust my spirit, trust God, and ask God for something. And when I move to the beat of my own drum, I can always look and say, okay, I'm proud of that. No matter whatever happens, I have peace in my heart, and I have harmony in my heart. I take into consideration the opinions of everyone I love, but ultimately I'm the one who must live my life. Just to give you some background, Meagan changed from one toxic relationship to another so quickly. And she probably should have just listened to her friends, because Jonathan is allegedly doing exactly what they told her he would do for many people. I want to be accountable for the decisions I make and live the life I want to live. During their almost 10 years of marriage, Meagan and Devon Franklin made headlines due to the extent to which Dion shielded Meagan from backlash from the Christian community over her fashion choices and style, and I'm not sure if he simply got sick of having to defend Meagan all the time, because in December 2021, Devon filed for divorce. Later, they both released a joint statement confirming their separation, saying, "After much prayer and consideration, we have decided to go into our futures separately but forever connected. We celebrate nearly 10 years of marriage together and the never-ending love. Nobody is at fault, and we think this is the next best chapter in the development of our relationship, and we are immensely thankful for the transformative years we have shared as husband and wife. Devon later admitted that he cried himself to sleep every night following his divorce from Meagan, and that the experience was extremely distressing. Although I'm doing much better now, the process of getting there is still a process, so even though I can sit here in front of you all and have this interview and be calm and introspective and all that, there are nights when I cry. Another thing that came up a lot was that Meagan didn't want to have children with Devon, and even though they denied this, many people were convinced that this decision likely contributed to the divorce. And let's not even get started with the accusation that Devon was a control freak, so people simply couldn't understand how Meagan moved from that to Jonathan, who already had an array of warning signs following his arrest. Records of Jonathan's alleged history of volatile behavior in both the Yale and New York theater scenes surfaced. Some claim that people at Yale and the NYC community had known about Jonathan for years. In April 2023, a variety of reports claimed that several women had come forward following the incident with Grace and were assisting the district attorney's office in the case. In June 2023, Rolling Stone published another report claiming an anonymous source described Jonathan as volatile, controlling, intense, physically intimidating, and occasionally aggressive. This portrayal has followed him onto Hollywood sets, where some production staff have described him as physically and verbally intimidating. The report details a 10-year pattern of relationships in which he was allegedly manipulative and controlling. In fact, one woman said that Jonathan was so erratic that he had strangled her, while another woman reported that their connection was emotional. Then, just before he started dating Meg, he had a problem with his ex that led to a year in prison. How did Meagan fail to see all of these warning signs? In Jonathan's ABC interview, after his conviction, he called Meagan his Ketta, which is thought to be a reference to the late Ketta, Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife, Coretta Scott King. "She's an angel," Jonathan remarked, "and she's held me down like a Ketta. I'm so fortunate to have her." This really reminded me uncannily of a phone conversation between Jonathan and Grace, where Jonathan was heard instructing Grace with Ketta in the audio evidence, using Scott King as a model for her proper behavior. You recognize that as Michelle Obama, the wife of Martin Luther King Jr., Scott King. Considering that Barack Obama simply uses his ladies as publicity, I'm sorry, but I know I'm not his wife and I shouldn't have gone out. Leaving Meg after she essentially paid all the costs is just rude, but do you believe Meagan brought this all on herself? Let me know your thoughts on Jonathan allegedly utilizing and abandoning Meagan in the comments area below. There are also many who claim that the relationship had contract vibes from the start.